And my guest today is Kent Perkins. Welcome, Kent.
Nice to see you, John.
Good to see you. Kent is an actor, been around Hollywood for a long time in a lot of movies, and he's also a good old Texas boy, right, Kent?
That's right. I went to Azle High School, grew up in this area.
Hey,
and
Tarrant
County is my home.
Yeah, as I say, you're still around here, and you got a couple other patches of land too, I think, around Texas.
Yeah, we live primarily on a ranch in Erath County, but I have a business in Fort Worth, and we have an apartment here, and love it.
Well, both you and your bride have been in TV, movies through the years, and I will talk more about a little bit about your bride, and we'll talk about the new movie that you guys are in, a John Schneider movie. It's called 1 Month Out. But first, I want to talk about you. Give us a little background. You went to Azle High School,
Right,
hung around Fort Worth, Camp Bowie, and
exactly. And I went into investigation work shortly after high school, and found myself as a lead investigator for Bank Americard in this region.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I got drafted into the movie business completely by accident. It's one of those crazy stories. I found myself giving someone a ride to Dallas to audition for a movie, and it was the last day of auditions. And I picked up a script while I was waiting for him to get his audition done, and one of the characters just described me to a T. 6'4", blonde-haired, blue-eyed Texan. And I thought, I could play this part. So I went and told the casting director, I'd like to try out for this. Just, on a fluke.
Yeah.
And the casting director said, this is the last day of callbacks. The executive producers here from Hollywood and the director and the producer are in that room seeing the last round of people. We've screened 3,000 people, and we're not letting anyone else in. So it's too late for you to audition. The character's name was Bill Hill. So when she was distracted on a phone call, I just opened the door where the director was. And I said, I'm Bill Hill. I understand you're looking for me. Well, the director, the producer, and the director were delighted because they were pulling their hair out trying to get the right person for this part. And then here's the guy that they describe in their script. So with the casting director dragging me by the arm, trying to get me out of the room, they told her, let him go, let him come in. We want to see him. So she backed off. And I went in, and in 5 minutes, I read the part and got it. And they cast me as a lead role in a Columbia motion picture. I was one of 5 leads, and I worked for 10 years as an actor. That was in the mid-'70s. From the mid-'70s to the mid-'80s, I made the Screen Actors minimum to qualify for retirement by making a certain amount each quarter for 40 consecutive quarters. And the moment I realized I had qualified for retirement with Screen Actors Guild, I quit acting because I had worked at that point from lead roles in motion pictures and TV series all the way down to doing beer commercials. And I realized I started at the top and worked my way to the bottom of that industry. But in the meantime, I married Ruth Buzzi. In the meantime, I got married to a very successful actress, and we're still married 42 years later.
And that's your bride I mentioned earlier. And
that's right. She's in the movie too.
Yeah.
In fact, I was in this movie with John Schneider and Vernon Wells and Barry Bostwick and Ruth Buzzi, simply because I was there with Ruth Buzzi and they needed to fill a part. John Schneider and I met.
Yeah.
When we were both up for the part of Bo Duke.
Oh, no kidding. You were up for Bo Duke.
No kidding. And it was the final day of callbacks. They had selected 2 people for each role.
Yeah.
For the producers to make their final cut. And it was down to me and John Schneider. You can believe that.
Wow. Just the turn of a screw. Huh?
The man that directed Dukes of Hazzard was Rod Amato, and he put me in my first movie. He's the guy that said, no, let him come on in.
No kidding.
Same director directed Dukes of Hazzard. So he called me and wanted me to be there to play the part of Bo Duke. But John Schneider walked in. He's 11 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Fantastic looking guy. He was only 17 at the time.
No kidding.
And, he had to fib a little bit to get into the audition because it said the minimum age was 19. But he told him he was 19. He was 17, and he told him he was a Georgia boy, which would have been perfect. But he was actually from upstate New York with an absolutely perfect Georgia accent that he worked on. He's a brilliant guy and always has been brilliant. He was a teenager then, and he beat me out of the job of my life, which at this point now, I'm kind of glad he won that deal because I could not have taken it as many years as he did. His youth worked for him, and he always looked great on that show. And I've told him to his face.
Great singer.
Fantastic singer with 10 top 10 records and 4 number-1 charted records. He's an incredible singer too.
And we play his music on our station. He's got some great tunes, you know. Let me go back to your bride a second. We mentioned that, but Ruth Buzzi, and people will remember Ruth Buzzi from Laugh-In. Laugh-In was a huge show.
Yes, it wasn't her first national exposure.
Yeah, she was
her
on
first big national exposure was before that. But her first TV series as a regular was Roland and Martin's Laugh-In. She did not only the pilot but every episode that they filmed of that show. And last year she did the 50th anniversary with them.
Wow, incredible show. I mean, it was a huge hit.
It was iconic. She got 5 Emmy nominations and won a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress on Television.
Okay,
she did 300 guest starring roles and cartoon shows, voices for lots of cartoons. People don't realize this. She is Mama Smurf on the Smurfs. She's Mama Bear on the Berenstain Bears, Nose Marie on the Pound Puppies.
Did not know that.
Yeah, she has a huge cartoon career as a voiceover character.
Yeah. Well, my big question, Kent, because people who watch Laugh-In, remember Laugh-In, there's still, the reruns for younger viewers who weren't around then. They should pull that up on YouTube or wherever you can find it. But Ruth Buzzi, the character that she created, was always slapping people with handbags, putting them in their place. That's my question.
She's the only female.
My question is, you ever see the end of the handbag?
That's very personal, John. She has her weapons and I have mine. But she is the first woman ever to beat up Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
She beat him up on the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast, and she did a lot of those shows.
That's a great bit. That's still on YouTube too.
And your younger audience will know Ruthie as Screech's mom on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, wow.
She was Marlo Thomas's best friend on That Girl.
Yeah.
She was a comedy regular on Sonny and Cher, Donnie and Marie, and lots of shows after Laugh-In. In fact, for 6 years, ending in 2006, she was a regular on Sesame Street. So she's captured a lot of audiences in her time.
Yeah, a lot of the big shows. Well, it was a great character. And she's a great actress, and you do an incredible job, my friend. So, and you've been in, gosh, I don't know how many movies you've been in since then.
I got very, very fortunate and worked with some of the greats. I was in Any Which Way You Can with Clint Eastwood, and I was in Buckaroo Banzai, which is kind of a cult classic.
Yeah,
but. Like I said, I started at the top of show business with the lead role in a Columbia picture. And when I found myself doing beer commercials for a living, I got back into my PI business, private investigations, and I built up a PI firm in California and sold it out a few years ago.
We're going to talk about the movie 1 month out that's debuting actually today, or will be available today. But the PI business in LA, that had to be really fascinating. You got to have some stories.
Absolutely fascinating. My biggest clients were the movie studios, and we did internal theft and drug cases, all sorts of cases for the movie studios. They have a lot of problems with copyright products being stolen, and even costumes from important movies. Iconic things like, just imagine what a Val Kilmer's Batman costume might be worth to someone on the black market.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a huge opportunity, and a lot of it's based on the really relaxed, trusting atmosphere on movie studios. It's La La Land. So we got deep undercover and solved a lot of cases for the studios, and it was a lot of fun and intriguing work.
Have you got a particular interesting story that stands out in your mind that you could share, maybe without names?
Well, one of the biggest movie stars in the industry had a movie in release, and they came to me while I was with my wife, and she was actually having lunch with Big Bird during the Sesame Street days. Big Bird was getting a star on the Walk of Fame. And I get a call from a major studio executive, and he says, "Kent, what are you doing right now?" I said, "I'm having lunch with Big Bird." He said, "This is no time to clown around. I need to know what you're doing." I said, I am having lunch with Big Bird." He said, "Okay, can you be at the airport in Burbank and get on a private plane and fly with our movie star to Atlanta? He's got a movie opening in Atlanta, and he has a stalker there. Oh, and we want you to intercept the stalker."
Big Bird had a stalker?
No, the movie star did.
Movie star. Okay.
I'm not calling any names because I signed all kind of confidentiality agreements.
Yeah.
But I had to get up from lunch with Big Bird, go jump on a private plane with one of the biggest names in show business, fly to Atlanta, and try to identify a stalker that was chasing him. It's been interesting. It was a fascinating job. I finally got enough of it, and we both retired. Ruthie and I both retired. But what got Ruthie out of retirement to do this movie was we were reunited through a mutual friend. I believe he's a friend of yours, a guy named Barry Rogers.
Yeah.
Welcome, friend. And
very great guy.
He put us together with John Schneider, who I hadn't seen in many years.
Yeah.
Put together for dinner when John was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Ruthie was completely smitten, like every woman is when they meet John Schneider. So about a week later, she's doing a TV interview because they're giving her an award in Dallas. Women in Film of Dallas awarded her a Topaz Award for Lifetime Achievement. And so while she was doing a TV interview about that, she told him that she's retired and she's not doing any more films or movies or TV. She's completely retired. And the interviewer said, "What would it take to get you out of retirement?" And she just rolled her eyes and said, "Well, let me think. Maybe if John Schneider called up and said, 'I need you for a movie.'" And he happened to either see that clip or someone shared it with him. And so it started some wheels turning in his brilliant mind as he's writing this movie 1 month out. He put in a great part for Ruthie. He did call her up and he did say, "Let's go do a movie." And he talked her into it. So that's how we ended up at John Schneider Studios in Holden, Louisiana. And he is a fantastic director. Not only a good writer, a really good writer.
Yeah.
He wrote a psychodrama movie with lots of twists and turns, and you cannot predict where this movie is going, I promise. And you won't know till the very ending.
Well, I want you to tell us about it, but there's also on the backstory of this thing, this movie was almost lost, wasn't it?
It came very close to being lost because right after we filmed the movie, it started to rain, and it became a biblical rain.
Yeah. Flood, yeah.
John's studio is in a bend. He has a 55-acre magnificent farm in a bend of the Tickfaw River in Holden, Louisiana. And when the Tickfaw comes out of its banks, it can actually take over and go 10 feet higher than ground level. So this river was coming through his house a few days after he finished the film. The river was coming through his house. The front door was open. The back door was open by the force of the water. And alligators and snakes floating along with debris through the middle of this magnificent house in the middle of this beautiful studio.
Yeah.
And he was heartsick because his film was in a computer, on digital, in a computer that was plugged in and sitting on a shelf in his office in that house. And people from the Cajun army came to him and said, John, what can we do? Is there anything in the house that you need to get? John says, I've got a film. I have a lot of my life tied up in that movie, and it's in a computer, and the computer's on a shelf, and it was pitch black at night. These guys went in with headlights on their head. They were in 4 to 5 feet of water with their faces above the water. They went inside that house and found that computer and lifted it up and kept it out of the water and managed to save that movie, because another few hours later, it would have been submerged and gone forever. So this is kind of a miracle film that it's even here.
Yeah, well, incredible story to it. And so he was able to salvage it along with the Cajun army and complete it.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about the theme of the movie and the plot.
Well, the theme of the movie, it revolves around age-related dementia, and it revolves around corruption. It would almost, if it was real instead of fabricated, it would have been an episode on American Greed. It's one of those really intriguing stories that could have happened.
Yeah.
And you really don't know where the story's going and why people are reacting the way they are until the very last scene of the movie, when everything gets tied together. It's one of those really aha moments. That's all I'm going to tell you about it. It's a suspense film. John Schneider wrote a great script, and he's a fantastic guy to work with. Wonderful director.
Well, yeah, he is a great guy, and we've had him on in the past. Talk to him again about this movie. This is 1 month out. I guess a thriller mystery.
Yeah.
Okay. And
psychodrama,
and it's going to be available on. You don't even have to leave your house to see it, right? You can see it at johnsnyderstudio.com. You can rent it there, or at what is it? Cineflixdod.com. Cineflix. Oh, Cineflix DOD.
There you go.
Okay, Cineflix DOD.
You'll get it.
Okay, we're going to put the links in the description below the blog, and people can click on that and go to one of those sites and pull up the movie. Look forward to seeing it.
Well, it's been great talking to you.
Hey, great to talk to you very much, Kent, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you, Scott.